Okay, Bill, the gang's all here. You want to walk us through the agenda?
Yes, I would. So, last time we took an open-ended approach focusing on some issues of concern. It worked okay, but Jim and I felt going forward we use our time better with an agenda, just to structure our discussion better. So let's start with an overview of all of our objectives.
Thanks for the overview, Bill. Now let's jump into those action items from our last meeting.
Sure, let's pull up the action items.
That Fort Lauderdale water quality issue is actually resolved. I didn't have a chance to mark it in the tool. The office manager called me this morning. It was just an error in testing.
Is there any PR we need to do in that, Jen?
It's done.
Great. Cindy and Patrick, it looks like your 2 action items are complete. Is there anything else to discuss?
Yeah, we actually collaborated in this, and if we could jump to the theme review, that'd be great.
I worked with Patrick, Cindy, and Maggie to analyze the loyalty numbers. Since I'm sure you all had a chance to review the detail before today's meeting, let's jump to the summary. As it turns out, nearly all rewards customers traveling to a city with a Grand Pavilion tend to stay at the Pavilion and not at a traditional Grand Hotel.
To me, this shows the concept really strikes a chord with our high-value guests. They appreciate having all of their services under one roof and on a single room bill.
That might be true, but we can't ignore the fact that we've been simply transferring customers from one Grand Hotel's brand to another. So we're not generating the increase in overall guests that we had hoped for. And since our Pavilion room rates are 3% cheaper than the Grand Hotels, we're seeing a slight reduction in the average room revenues.
Yes, but what we're learning from the Pavilion is that the average room revenue is no longer the best metric. If we go into the grow revenue objective, we'll see the overall revenue per guest per night measure. The overall graph for both hotels looks positive, but if we drill down and view the 2 hotels separately, then we'll notice that the overall revenues per guest are higher at the Pavilion because they're capturing a larger share of revenue that the guests would otherwise be spending somewhere else.
Hold on, you know what? This reminds me of an old balanced scorecard report case study at Mobil. For the longest time, gas stations were just competing on gas price. Customers had no brand loyalty. They'd switch for as little as a nickel a gallon. But then Mobil realized there was a customer group who would go out of their way for a good convenience store, even if the price of gas were higher.
Interesting.
And we've seen that too. Even when customers tell you they're loyal in a survey, they'll still switch to another hotel to save $5 a night.
Which is why we spend so much money to guarantee our lowest price internet rates.
But why race to the bottom when we can race to the top?
Exactly. When we analyzed the survey data, which I've now moved to the strategic level, we learned our most loyal customers were ranking the quality of the Pavilion rooms with almost the same scores as Grand Hotel. But when you look at the amenities, the Pavilion ranked 25% higher.
So they care less about innovations in the hotel room and more about the conveniences we offer around the hotel room.
This is all very interesting. What do you recommend we do based on this analysis?
Well, Jim, Maggie and I were thinking we should try to deploy many of these same services throughout the Grand Hotels brand. We've started sketching out the business plan and are just waiting on some numbers from Bill to see if it all holds water. If it does, we'd like to pilot the extension of this line into our other hotels.
Patrick, what are your thoughts? We don't want it to hurt the new brand you've been working so hard to build.
Are you kidding me? This makes perfect sense. For me, it validates the Pavilion model. If we concentrate on citing future pavilions in markets where our Grand Hotels don't already have a presence, we can take the best customers from our competitors instead of cannibalizing our own business. It's a win-win for me and Cindy.
Another thing we're thinking about, in order to build the Pavilion brand across our properties, is to bring some of the amenities in-house and give them Pavilion branding. Say, barber at the Pavilion, or maybe even cleaners at the Pavilion.
Well, we might be able to come up with some slightly catchier names, but I get the idea. It's a great brand building opportunity for Pavilion.
Well, I like the idea and I appreciate the teamwork. Bill, I think we're all beginning to see how this balanced scorecard concept in these meetings are supposed to work. What I like best is that we're spending more time talking about how to execute our strategy and less time just reporting only results and getting lost in the weeds. Thanks, team. Keep up the good work. That was just